Okay, welcome. This video is about waking up. Waking up has to do with seeing reality momentarily, or when it's integrated and becomes a growing up stage of development, but it has to do with seeing reality more true as what it is, as opposed to what we think it is. It also has to do with really starting to see who we are not, but who we might have taken ourselves to be. So let's look at what we might take ourselves to be. We can take ourselves to be the body. We can take ourselves to be our thoughts, our feelings, our relationships, our job title or role, any association in terms of family dynamics. We can see ourselves as sister or daughter or brother or mother or father or grandma, etc., etc. We can see ourselves as a good, loyal friend. We can see ourselves as incredibly capable or as a really good leader at work. We can see ourselves as all sorts of things. And waking up has to do with really disidentifying and starting to see the objects of our awareness that we can witness and observe. The moment we can observe a particular thought pattern, a particular trait, a particular behavior, we can observe it. We're not it, because we can observe it. And we know it can come and go. So things come and go. And what you are, essentially, the essence of you, is resting in awareness behind all of that. So what a lot of meditation practices do, a lot of meditation and particularly Eastern philosophy is focused on this waking up. So it's sitting in meditation, it's going through a retreat of 7-10 days, whatever it might be, to really start to really observe all these parts of ourselves that might arise and disidentify with any of it. So as we sit in meditation, what can start to happen is that we see a particular thought, we can see a particular process, we can see something else, we can see something else. And really what we're doing, and this is a practice called neti, is we're saying, I am not this, I am not that, I am not this, I am not that. And so as any thought or feeling or process comes by, we can see it for what it is, and then it floats by again. And the idea with this is that we rest more and more and more deeply into our awareness, as opposed to into all these finite forms that we might take ourselves to be. And as we rest deeper and deeper and deeper into our awareness, we can start to really recognize what we are not, but also recognize what we actually are, which could be referred to as emptiness, nothingness, profound clarity, freedom. The state of I am. The state of nothingness, the state of maybe where Jesus or Muhammad or the Buddha was operating in and sitting in and resting in. And this state is already available to all of us. We might just be distracted and occupied and identified with finite forms. So we might take ourselves to be the actual mother, or we think we are the actual practitioner, or we think we are the actual leader or the founder of this business. So we take ourselves to be these roles. And because we take ourselves to be these roles, we miss what we actually are, which is beyond any role or occupation or any role in society for that matter. Whether it's male, female, colors of skin, anything, yeah? Anything can be a part of this. So this is waking up, and we start to really see, I am not this, I am not that. To then at some point rest into profound self-awareness of oneself, but really of the self that we've taken ourselves to be. So the I, the witness, the seer, can see everything but itself. So the witness can watch all these different aspects of oneself, but it can't see itself. The I can't see itself. As I think of an actual I, the I can't see itself. However, as we do this practice more and more of neti, I am not this, I am not that, we can start to really rest back into that. So a practice that I would like all of you to take on from now on is every morning on a daily basis, whether it's weekday or weekend, meditate for at least 10 minutes. Once you have a meditation practice of at least 10 minutes, do that for at least 6 months. And after that, you move into a practice that is another 6 months, but we're going to move into 20 minutes. Yeah, so we start with 10 minutes and then we move into 20 minutes. And this is very simple. You can do it every day. You sit in your chair and you observe. And we actually call the sitting practice and not so much a meditation practice, because this sitting practice is really what it is about. Meditation has a lot of connotations with it as to what to do, what not to do, etc., etc. And it's really as simple as just sit with your eyes closed in a chair or on a cushion, whatever it might be. So be comfortable to some degree, but sit up somewhat straight, but not overly straight. So because the question is, who's sitting there? Who's efforting in that way? A part of you that you might take yourself to be who you are not. So sit in a chair and watch all of what's arising in that moment. Observe any thoughts, any feelings. And a particularly good indicator is, well, if you sit with your eyes closed, what are you supposed to be looking at? You're looking at the inside of your eyelids. And if there's any other imagery or shapes or things coming by, that's not it then. So anything you can see whilst you're sitting, any form of imagination, is part of the ego construct, part of the self structure, who you are not. Yeah, so neti is a really profound practice. Once you've done that for a few years, and it takes a few years for most people, between 5 to 10, if not 30, if not a whole lifetime, depending on the individual, then you can really start to rest in this state of I amness, into pure witnessing consciousness. And then you can really start to see I am everything, and everything is me. But not as a concept or understanding or belief system or experience as such. It really goes deeper into a true, profound way of being. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to explore some of these different state experience of waking up. So an iteration or like a continuation of waking up. What is waking up? So waking up is through states of awareness of the nature of being. That's what we're exploring. So ontology, the nature of being. And how can we rest more deeper and deeper into our field of awareness? This waking up, as we become more grounded in that, if you will, can support our capacity for day-to-day, moment-to-moment awareness. So it's not only in your sitting practice or in your practice, you will actually be able to take it into your day-to-day life, and it becomes a lived, embodied realization. And really what it is we're sinking deeper into this one present moment. And that's really what you can see in this graphic here. So growth speaks to we're busy with the world of form. We're busy with the world of appearance and everything that's arising in there. So we're busy with that. Subtle then starts to speak to we're now really starting to become more aware of our own thoughts and feelings, our own experiences. We really can, this is where therapy might come in a bit more. So we really can start to explore and navigate these parts of ourselves and become more skilled, if you will, at navigating these parts of ourselves. So we really can start to see there's these thoughts, there's these things that are moving constantly and processing itself. Then causal, as you can see here, starts to really only be available in integral, so in teal level of development, which is what we spoke about in the growing up. And if you haven't seen that yet, go back to that. So teal, it says integral here, it's the same, it's teal level of consciousness is the first stage of second tier, can really start to move in this more causal reality. So subtle is really anything like thinking and feeling, and causal is really sitting behind it as a stillness, as a nothingness. And then really as that deepens and matures and grounds itself, we can really start to move into witnessing consciousness. So this is what I was speaking to earlier, really sitting in the seat of awareness. We're witnessing everything that comes by and not necessarily attaching or pushing away anything that comes by. And then also, as that deepens and grounds, we can really drop into non-dual awareness, which is where the witness collapse, if you will. The witness, there's no seer anymore, because there's nothing to see and there's no one to see it, or nothing to see it. And this is where we really go into pure consciousness, if you will. There's no subject or object. And what is really important to note is that the states of consciousness, here it's written here, the states of consciousness will be interpreted by the stage of development that the person happens to be at in that particular moment in time. Which means that a baby, like all of us, already have non-dual awareness. We're already fully enlightened and awake, and we're already resting into non-dual awareness. The question, however, is how far are we distracted back into these other parts of awareness? So the stage of development determines the way in which we interpret these state experiences. This is why it's so important to integrate both waking up and growing up together in any comprehensive spiritual practice or self-development practice. If we're simply only meditating, doing yoga, breathwork, etc., we're missing a large part of what is also important, which is integrating that into our beingness as an embodied way, and then showing up and growing up in the world with that, in relationship to other people, in relationship to maybe building a business or any other endeavors. How can we really show up in the world and be this different core version of oneself, this more awake, more light, more open, more spacious, more available state? How can we really bring that into the world? And how do we see that through this meditation practice, our values shift and our sense of identity shift, which all has to do with growing up? So that is really available here as we integrate waking up and growing up as a really important part of holistic development, and really start to see that one without the other really would be quite disruptive, actually, would definitely be a disservice for the individual, and would potentially even be destabilizing, as opposed to actually grounding and stabilizing. And what is important to mention there is sometimes we need to go through moments of destabilization. Actually, as a matter of fact, as we grow up through stages, so now I'm going back to growing up, as we grow up through stages, we need to destabilize. We need to momentarily feel uncomfortable and disrupted. Once we learn from that disruption and we really integrate that back into our being, we now are more mature and able to show up in the world. So we need to destabilize in order to then stabilize at a higher level, if that makes sense. So this is where we really can start to see how all of these different components work together. So as a practice for now, 10 minutes a day, neti. I am not this, I am not that. Sitting with your eyes closed on a cushion or on a chair, somewhere in a space where you're private, so no one else is around. And you really start to play with these different parts of you and different parts of awareness and what is available here. And then any questions or any comments or any sharings, bring them into the collective group session so that we can discuss and openly explore as a group what is here for you and what's available.